News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Swartzman. We check the markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. Stocks falling as President Trump's remarks on tariffs failed to ease worries. The S&P 500 lost 0.75%. The Nasdaq fell 0.9%, while the Dow dropped almost 1%. The 10-year Treasury yield sitting at 4.3%, while the 2-year yield is at 3.8%. Meanwhile, the price of oil rebounded a bit to just over $59 a barrel. President Trump says he will dictate tariff levels for U.S. trading partners looking to avoid higher duties, appearing to move away from the idea that he would engage in back-and-forth negotiations.
We're going to put down some numbers and we're going to say our country is open for business, and they're going to come in and they're going to pay for the privilege of being able to shop in the United States of America.
President Trump speaking Tuesday at the White House as he met with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. The president said back on Sunday the first deals could come as soon as this week, but the president's latest comments indicate he could continue to change his approach. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was on Capitol Hill answering questions from the House Appropriations Committee, where the secretary gave an update on the status of trade talks.
Many of our trading partners have approached us with very good offers. We are in the process of renegotiating those. And I would be surprised if we don't have more than 80 or 90% of those wrapped up by the end of the year.
Bessent also went on to say the U.S. will make sure the debt ceiling is raised and bills are paid.
The United States government will never default, that we will raise the debt ceiling, and Treasury will not use any gimmicks. We will make sure that the debt ceiling is raised.
That's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. The Supreme Court has dealt a major blow to LGBTQ rights by clearing the way for the Trump administration to start discharging transgender service members. Former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson with more details.
The Supreme Court, divided again on ideological basis, has allowed, at least while the litigation is going on, the ban to be in place, which means that transgender service members are going to start being discharged out of the military almost immediately.
That's former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson, courtesy of CBS News. President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney met at the White House for the first time since Carney won federal elections last month. The talks are focused on tariffs and the relationship between the two allies. Trump has repeatedly claimed that the U.S. was, quote, subsidizing Canada to the tune of $200 billion, while also giving them free military protection. Trump has also talked repeatedly about Canada becoming the 51st state. Carney addressed that thought.
As you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
That's Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. Trump also stressing he believes it benefits Canada to become the 51st state.
I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it.
That's President Trump at the White House. Friedrich Merz has been confirmed as Germany's new chancellor on the second attempt, receiving 325 votes out of 630 lawmakers. The first tally left Merz a bit short with 310 votes, with 316 needed to secure parliamentary backing. It's the first time since World War II that an incoming chancellor failed to secure enough votes on the first try. Merz will be making his first trip abroad on Wednesday, first to Paris for talks with French President Emmanuel Macron, and then on to Warsaw to meet with Polish counterpart Donald Tusk. In a surprise move, Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty will skip the Preakness, which is the second leg of horse racing's Triple Crown, and instead will focus on the Belmont Stakes next month. No reason has yet been given as to why the horse will not race the Preakness. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Swartzman, and this is Bloomberg.